live. Welcome in to the HPL Season 2 schedule release for college football. I know everybody has been just dying to see who they're taking on this year. We're going to go through everybody's schedule, break it all down, give us some predictions, talk about a few rule changes later in the video. But for now, I am joined up in the booth with Brink, coach of Texas A&M, and captain coach of Ohio State. I am KU, coach of Texas Tech this season. How we feeling, guys? You ready to get into this?
Yeah.
This will be the most action I get into this year.
I was about to say, we're kind of just ready to get this over with. Get this started as much as we can.
I want to get to season 3, but yeah, let's do this.
Well, I think we should start off because we've got the schedule up. In past years, we've asked a lot of people, hey, who do you guys want to play out of conference? Give us some matchups you want. This year, we decided to take a little bit of a different approach to it, somewhat of a tiered system. We will have 5 conferences this year. Each will have at least 4 users, and either 3 or 4 CPUs, just depending on how many users are in each conference. I believe the Big 12 and the Pac-12 both have 5 users. But we went through all the teams, all the users, tried to get them as balanced as we could, tried to give, keep them somewhat in close proximity to each other in terms of location. But the out-of-conference games, that was the big thing we wanted. We wanted to have more user games, so everybody should have either 3 or 4 non-conference user games this season. Your opponents were determined by just how good you did last season, how good of a user you are, how good your team is. So if you're a really good user, like this team will be seeing first year, Alabama, you're going to play a really tough out-of-conference schedule. You're going to play some of the A-tier opponents from the other 4 conferences. So we can kind of just get right into it and talk about Alabama, the defending champion here. They're starting off the season week 0 at Miami, and then they got another road game going to Louisville, and then we got Rutgers and Penn State for their non-conference here. What do you guys think about this schedule for Mr. Electric, who finally got that elusive championship this year?
I mean, yeah, like you said, he finally did it. He finally broke through the glass ceiling and won himself a championship. It only took him not being Kansas State to do so. Kind of sucks, but here we are. I mean, it's tough schedule for the champion. So I feel like he's going to do just fine for the most part. These are all people that he beat in the playoffs, especially
Andrew,
I think
for the championship.
Andrew and DJ.
Yep.
So.
That was maybe one of the best games we saw all year, was that matchup between Alabama and Louisville. Kind of more of a choke on Louisville's part, but nonetheless, DJ will have a shot to get his revenge very early in the season. It'll be a matchup of number 1 and number 2 in the AP poll, and then we can kind of scroll down into his non-conference. And we got a new user coming in this year. We got Big Slime, who has taken over LSU. He will be in the SEC with Alabama, so we expect those two to go kind of toe for toe for the SEC title. Brink, what are you kind of looking for there between those two teams?
Well, I agree that this is exactly what a champion's schedule should look like the following season. There's a lot of redemptions in both the conference and non-conference. He played LSU, it was Pablo last year, so now it's Sauce. It'll be the first time they played. I don't know if they've ever matched up, even in some other seasons in some other leagues. Correct me if I'm wrong. So this will be an exciting one to look forward to in week 8. But at the top of the schedule, these are guys that he's very familiar with and are very familiar with him. I think there's potential he could start 0-2. I'm not predicting it, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that he goes into that bye week without a win.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things this year is, everybody's going to have to play more user games. I think most teams should have either 7 or 8 user games on their schedule. So, even to get bowl eligible this season, you're gonna have to beat, one or two users, even if you take care of business all the CPU games you have. So I think that's gonna make it very exciting. Hopefully we can get a lot of broadcasts in. But before we move on, I guess, do we want to do like predictions for Electric's record, or
Oh
what are we
yeah,
thinking?
absolutely. I mean, we're thinking probably a good 11-1. I think DJ probably gets his revenge in this one. He still has Isaac Brown, and he was able to get the famed Kansas State quarterback Avery Johnson. So maybe DJ
That'll
will
be
be
a
able
good
to beat
matchup.
him this time, but
Hmm.
you never really know. Electric is going on the road to DJ, so there's a pretty solid chance.
Right. That's one
No
of the,
stadium
yeah, those are
bowls.
both road games.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they're going to lose 2 games this year. I don't know where they'll
Mm.
exactly be, but like, Miami's on the road. LSU's a new opponent. Rutgers plays pretty good defense. Like,
Even
there's a
at Penn
couple.
State is a tough place to
Yeah,
play.
exactly. So I think there's some things that could maybe not go his way, but as we've seen, the declared luckiest player in CFB history. It's gonna be a really interesting season. I don't think he'll go worse than 2 losses if that happens, but he could still go undefeated.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 11-1. I think
11-1.
that's probably fair for Electric. I think we can give him that benefit of the doubt.
Well, then moving on to the next person, the guy that kind of admittedly stole
Look at all these
Arizona
home
State.
games,
Got a good
Mm,
handful of home
early
games to start
too.
the season.
and
That
then
might
all the
change.
user or all the
All,
road
yeah,
games.
all the home games to start the season between Colorado, Texas A&M,
Should probably
Nebraska,
be going to A and
and
M.
then he's only got those 3 users. But how it shakes out, I think everybody all has at least 7 user games. So you do have to win at least one user game to
Yeah,
make at least a bowl game. So
Who is this, by the way?
this
this
is
Steezy.
yeah,
Ah,
like I said, the guy that admittedly stole it from Slick when we were doing the chips thing.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate, but here we are. I mean, he made a bowl game last season. It looks like he won it, from what I can tell. I see no
yeah.
reason why he couldn't do that again. But
I
it's
I
gonna be.
think.
I mean, he's gonna beat Heredia most likely, if I had to really guess. But the rest of
Well, I
these
mean, he's
teams,
got
I
to
don't know.
take care of business. I think it's going to be big for him getting off to a good start, right? He's got all these home games. If he can get through those first, he's got 5 user home games right there to start. If he can get through those like 3-2, I think he's feeling
he
pretty
doesn't
good
go on the
about
road
himself.
until week 9.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
here we
then he
go,
does
boys.
have
I
to
think.
play at
There we go.
Washington and at Oregon, who's a 99
Oh,
overall, I believe.
that's the one.
Yeah, I think Washington is a 97 overall, but it
I
is Verge, so
think that is
you never
one
know.
of our. Oh yeah, Washington. Yeah, I think they're 97.
Um,
But yeah, no, I think this is like another 6-6 season. Unfortunately, kind of stagnated
yeah,
by
Yeah.
the fact that the Pac-12 is, it's got Mr. Undefeated and a 99 overall team.
I think I think Steezy is a good player. I think he just kind of had a down first year. So I'm gonna give him 7-5, and he makes a bowl game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I agree. I think 8-4 maybe. Based on.
8-4 at the highest, 8-4 peak.
I don't think Oregon's a giveaway. I think Stevie does. He's not like some
You
novice, and
think he beats Heredia, beats you, and
probably.
just
Well,
kind of
I think we'll have a
coasts.
good game, but my team is not good. So, but it's
Yeah,
not much worse than his. His isn't like towering over me.
yeah, fair enough. All right, well, on to Boise State. Whoever would like to do this.
Yeah, Boise State, they won the Big 12 last year. They beat Texas Tech in the conference championship. He was pretty impressive just because like Boise State wasn't a very high overall team and did a really nice job. I was impressed by the way he played. I had never played him before. Deegan is the Boise State user, so he's got a pretty solid slate of games. I think in the non-conference. Obviously, DJ is going to be tough. Going to Penn State is never easy, and then Indiana. They were a little inconsistent, but he did beat Hail State last year, so interesting kind of stretch to start out the season for him. I think he's got to get off to a good start, and then it looks like the second half of the year it's really loaded up on all the Big 12 users. The Big 12, we got Rutgers, Texas Tech, West Virginia, Colorado. If he can get through those games, 2-2, 3-1, I'm thinking he's feeling pretty good. I feel like there might be a little bit of a step back this year, so I'm gonna say 8-4 for Deegan.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. I mean, he's got a pretty tough out of conference between, I think Ricky is his name in Nebraska. He's a pretty solid
Yeah.
user. Obviously, DJ is, we all know him. We all have our mixed feelings on him. And then, I mean, RBLs. This is really three really tough users, and then you've got Steelers who managed to beat Hail State last season, and nobody saw it coming. We all expected Hail State to go undefeated. So it's going to be pretty tough for him. It's definitely going to be a step back, but I'd say it's more like 9-3 at the worst. Because, really, I think the only in-conference game he's most likely going to lose is just this one against Rutgers, just because he took it all the way to the finals last year.
Yeah,
Last season.
Texas Tech one, I don't know, man.
West Virginia.
Beat
we'll
you in
see.
beat you in the championship. Anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tougher at the end of the schedule for him, but Penn State and Louisville will be also tough. So yeah, he bookends some pretty tough matchups, but in the middle, I think he'll go through a run, probably win a bunch in a row. So
I think
9-3, 8-4.
I think we'll see. I think we'll just see a lot more losses across the board, just because we got so many good teams playing each other.
Yeah.
That it'll be interesting to see what the playoffs kind of shape up looking like. There might be a 4-loss team that makes the playoffs. Like we just don't exactly know. We'll see, but I think it's going to be really hard to win, 12, 11, even 10 games, just with the way the schedule works out. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'd say we probably don't end up seeing an undefeated team this season. We will
Yep.
not see a repeat of what Joker did. But anyway, on to
Good tie.
the BYU Cougars. Tie racing. My personally least favorite user for various reasons. But, he's got admittedly kind of a weaker schedule. Neo, we didn't really see play a whole lot last season. I think there were some sort of issues with him. But he beat Brink last season. I can't remember if he's ever played Mike G. And then we've got a Toilet Bowl rematch where Ty had beat Furch when it came up. So maybe he can show up again. Maybe Ty can do great. Let's just try and ignore the in conference for right now. Let's focus on getting through our out of conference games. 3-2, 4-1, and then we can just take the handful of AI games
He's got all this
as well as we
games at
can
the end.
and just win
He
our
could
bowl
lose
game.
all of those user matchups early, but he could also probably win more, up to 2.
Yeah, I think Ty's problem is that it's more on the defensive side of the ball. For some reason he just loves to blitz every single play and run cover 0. But if you're playing a good user, they know how to torch that. So he's got to do a better job, I think, of just mixing up his looks a little bit better and not always just selling out. And I think that will lessen the amount of times he gives up big plays. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, just with the slate he's got to go through, I think.
He
I really want to say
he
6
probably
and
misses
6.
his bowl game.
I really want to say
honest.
6 and 6, but I'm not sure.
If he gets 3 wins early, it's because Neo didn't show up and he ended up beating me, and then he beats Furch. That's the only way he's gonna get 3 wins in that stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll beat
Dude,
Baylor.
that's
He might lose to Baylor, dude. He hasn't done that great against the computer.
Yeah.
I think
He's
he
been known
should beat
before to
them.
lose them. He's been known to lose some AI games every
Yeah.
now and again, but I think he's gotten a little better. But this
Yeah, he's been playing
even
better. I
the
will give him
in-conference
credit.
AI is a little rough. Clemson, Kentucky, and Duke. That's not exactly something to sleep over.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 6 and 6 to be hopeful, but if it was 4 and 8, then that would be kind of sad, but not surprised.
I mean, it's probably 4 and 8. I'm gonna be the hater, unfortunately.
I'm gonna say 7 wins.
Wow.
I think he does it. I'll put it out there.
All right. Well, moving on to Colorado and Heredia. kind of surprised last season he made a bowl game. He beat a couple people we didn't really expect him to beat, but maybe he
Yeah,
can do
I
it
mean,
again.
I, my only thing with Heredia is just like how locked in is he going to be to this? You know, I mean, uh, who knows with Heredia, but if just assuming that he plays every game and he's locked in here, I mean, um, you know, he's had some struggles on this game, but I do feel like he's definitely improved. Um, he's kind of got all the users in the conference stacked at the end, so he needs to kind of take advantage of the middle of the season. Let's scroll back up. UCLA, Washington, Arizona State. I think those are all winnable games for him, honestly. Um, so I'm actually a little bit more bullish on Heredia this year than I think I would be for Ty, just given the schedule he has. So I think I'm gonna say 7-5.
I mean, he's the consummate casual of all casuals for this game, and that's not an insult. That's it's just not his game, right? But he has been playing better, but his team seems worse than it was a year ago. I don't know if he has the same kind of players on the roster. I mean, I think he'll have a good run early, but I think at the end of the schedule, if you go back to the bottom, I think he's going to end up disappointed, unfortunately, because that's a really hard. Rutgers, Mike is not a pushover, obviously playing you. And by that time, Boise State might also be fighting for their postseason life. So I think there's going to be a bit of disappointment come the end of the year for Colorado.
Yeah, I just went to pull up Colorado's roster here, and
He lost
um,
a good handful of bits and pieces that were
yeah,
from Colorado
it's.
last
I
season, so
mean,
it's going to be tough. I think this is the second person that I'm going to say misses a bowl game entirely, but whenever he is around and whenever he does really want to play this game, and whenever he has Hail State on the sidelines as his offensive coordinator, he's pretty good. He can win, but there's definitely times where I think he lost a couple AI games last season too. So you never really
he's.
know what you're getting. Are we getting
I,
NASCAR 25 Heredia, or are we getting CFB Heredia?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking through his roster a little bit. He's got Julian Lewis at quarterback, who has a star dev trait. So if he really worked to develop him, he could get him a lot better. He's got, some good receivers, a lot of speed in the receiving core. So if he figures out how to use that, he could certainly put up some points. But the defense is only a 74 overall, so I think stopping teams gonna be a huge struggle. He's got 6 total defensive linemen on his roster, so
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
gonna be
the
tough.
greatest. That's gonna be his issue, but
It'll be interesting, but it's probably a 4-8 season. He probably just cleans up his AI games and drops one. So, but
Yeah, I
moving
yeah.
think
on.
6, 7 wins. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Indiana. KU.
Yeah, who's this?
That's the
Indiana,
Steelers.
yes. Steelers. Another guy. I'm not. He was pretty active last year, I think, and I'm hoping he, obviously stays active in here. But he's got decent out of conference schedule. Ole Miss, Tennessee, Miami, all tough, and then Boise State. Obviously, we mentioned won the Big 12 championship last year. So, if he's not careful, I mean, he could start 1-4 out of the gate real quick there, and then we get into the Big 10 play, A&M, Ohio State, and then Penn State towards the end. Honestly,
Wait,
going to be a tough one.
go back to the top real quick. Oh, Ole Miss. I thought it said Ohio State. I'm sorry.
Nah.
Thought you were playing them twice.
Nope.
Steelers definitely like he's a good user. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants to do in the offensive end. I think he's got a good defensive user as well. So, um, I'm gonna say that a couple of these coin flip games early he can win, and I think I could see him going 8-4. I think that's a solid expectation given his roster this year.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's some coin flips early. I think we're a coin flip because I think he's right around the same as I am as far as how good our teams are at this point. I think out of conference won't matter as much for him, but like that Tennessee game will be huge and it's on the road. Um, and then at the end of the schedule where he picks up some more users, Ohio State, Penn State, those are going to be huge matchups for him. But if he pulls off all his AI games and comes into that game with, say, like 2 losses at a conference and 1 in conference, he's gonna have a shot at the title for the Big Ten.
Yeah, he does have a 73 overall quarterback, so that's
That'd be a little tough. Going from Fernando Mendoza to whoever was number 3, because I think he also lost the other Mendoza.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting. Like you said earlier, we did watch him. Well, we didn't watch him beat Miami, but he did beat Miami last season. The guy who we expected to go out and win it all. That was a big shock to everybody. But
Big in a lot of
especially
ways.
with the 73 overall quarterback, that's gonna be a little tough. Probably not gonna be able to do as much as he wants, but I'd say probably 8-4 is what you need to look for, and you're probably losing the rematch against Hail State if I truly had to guess. But
I think
Hail
any
State's
other of
probably
these
gonna be out
games
for
is a
blood.
any other of these games is a coin toss.
that week 1 game should be broadcasted.
It probably
Is
will.
that- Oh man, yeah.
But yeah, no, we are
Ooh,
moving on to
Louisville.
Louisville. The kind of just became the number 2 in the rankings for CFB, even though it says number 6 right there is his name. Right now, as it stands, it's Electric Days at the top, and DJ is right below him, and that's just barely because that way the Electric and DJ playoff game kind of ended. But with being a top guy, you get a tough schedule, and you start out on the road at Tiger Stadium. It's going to get broadcasted. We're going to see it. We're going to see how you fare against somebody that we've seen you play in other dynasties, except the teams are a little more mismatched now. And then you get your rematch against Electric Days the following week. Boise State and then USC. Um, Not a terrible
I think
out-of-conference schedule. You do have to
yeah.
play Hail State at the end of the season, and you get Ricky, Nebraska, depending on how he plays.
Get the free one against
Yeah, free run against unfortunately. Sorry, Ty. But this could easily be 10-2. This could easily be 12-0, but I'm going to be a little more conservative, and I'm just going to go with the 10-2.
I think
I
it's kind of like the Electric situation where he could have an undefeated season, but could also walk away with 4 losses. I mean,
yeah.
Sauce is not a pushover whatsoever. Electric's going to play him tough. Joker's going to play him tough. I don't know if Joker's ever beaten um, his son in a matchup, but I I don't know. Joker's team's pretty good, and I think that if Louisville's not too careful in that matchup, could be a trap game.
Is
And
that gonna
then
be a
yeah,
belt
Miami at
game?
the end. I mean, he's gonna have a decently easy conference schedule. Probably if he loses one, it's just that Miami game, and
Mm.
so he's gonna be fighting the
And then it
championship,
just gets his
probably against
rematch.
that Miami team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that USC game is going to be a little interesting. I think if Joker comes out with the same song and dance that he usually does every other season, where it's just options and quick passes, then
Mm.
he's cooked. But if he changes up his tune a little bit at the start of this season, who really knows how this game is going to go? But if it's the same old options and RPOs, then it's going to be a little tough. And we're
Yeah.
probably going to
Yeah.
see a Louisville win.
I think honestly, if I mean the big thing here is I think obviously Sauce on the road, but the other two are at home, which I think is big. So in I think like you said, the conference schedule I think is manageable for him. Nebraska does have a good team. We don't want to underestimate Ricky, but I feel like DJ is probably the better user there. I I think I'm gonna say 10-2. I think he loses to Miami. I think Miami gets their revenge from sending them home in the playoffs, and then I think he loses week 0 to Sauce. But I think he gets his revenge against Electric. So I'm gonna say 10-2.
Brink, you got anything?
Yeah, I think 10-2 is reasonable. It could be 3 losses, very respectively, though, if
Mm.
he's not careful.
He also just doesn't have the team, an 82 overall that
Right.
some of
That's
these
what I'm
other
thinking. He
guys
doesn't
do.
doesn't have that running back. That's why
He doesn't
USC could
recruit.
be a trap game
He
in a
might
way.
not have the overall team, but he has his bits and pieces. He has his Avery
He's got the big
Johnses, his
playmaker.
Isaac
Playmaker.
Brown.
Yeah.
He's got the people that he wants and believes will win him
True.
everything. So
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be
we'll
fun
just
to
have to
watch.
see. Yeah, fun guy to watch for at least the first handful of weeks. But moving on to the new guy, LSU. Big Slime, or
Hmm.
Sauce, as most people may know him. Coming in as a top guy, coming in with a
Oh, those
team
ranked
built by
matchups.
Pablo. Kind of got a bit of a gauntlet. Like I was telling Brink earlier, if you pick Texas A&M and you pick a big team, then you're going to get the big team schedules. So he kind of said he wanted to go to Georgia Southern, and we tell him he'd get a Georgia Southern schedule. But he starts out, he gets Louisville at home, he gets Hail State, Miami at home, and then he just kind of has a little break, and then he gets like a Turf at home, and then the championship runner-up in Rutgers, Andrew, on the road. So
Yeah, and then it looks like he closes
kind
with
of
a bunch
tough.
of CPU games.
Yeah,
So,
kind of a
kind
cakewalk
of
on CPU games at the end.
he could go, those first, what is it, 8 or 7? Those first 7 games, he could go, 3 and 4 pretty easily and win out the rest of the way and maybe still make it. I don't know. But it's definitely gonna be tough. Obviously, we know Sauce is very good at this game. I think he gets Louisville. I think Miami probably takes him down, and then I think the rest of them, I think he loses to Alabama on the road. I think that's gonna be tough. So I I think I'm gonna say 10-2. Like he's got a really really good roster, so um, he's kind of in the no excuses club right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Tennessee matchup will be his one of his toughest, just because they're unfamiliar with each other. Rutgers will
Yeah,
also be interesting.
that's true.
I mean, those first, he's somewhat familiar with DJ. He's very familiar with Hail State. He's very familiar with turf. Like, I don't think that's going to be an easy game for Miami whatsoever. I think LSU's gonna they're gonna the both of them are gonna sweat that game a lot, and it's early, so
Sweating.
whoever loses, it's not going to be that big of a deal probably because they're both out of conference. But yeah, I think what it's going to come down to is him playing Tennessee and Alabama right there in the middle of the season.
Yeah, it'll
And look
Yeah,
at that,
definitely be
it's
a little
5
interesting to
users in
watch.
a row.
Yeah. Kind of similar to
yeah,
how Joker was last season. I think he had 6 of them in a row.
He's
But,
got 7 technically with the 2 bye weeks in between them.
yeah, I was about to say,
yeah,
if you want to get real technical, sure. But honestly, he's going to clean up all of his user games. So that's 5 wins there. And I think we probably end up seeing him go probably 9-3. I mean, I think we see Hail State win, DJ win, and Electric win. But that Tennessee game is going to be really the one to watch because that's one of our two 99 overall teams that Hex has built. So
yeah.
we'll really see. But anyone else? Any other comments?
I think 1 to 2 losses, but maybe 3. It could go unlucky, but I think 1 to 2 would be realistic.
All right. Well, on to the guy we said was going to win it all, but unfortunately got knocked out. I think the second round, Hail State, Miami. Okay, you.
Yeah, it's got a loaded roster here, 99 overall offense. Just tough, tough little start out of the gate. You get Alabama and LSU, the two best teams out of the SEC we expect this year. So, could very quickly find himself 0-2 if he's not careful. And then, Ohio State is another really good roster. That could be a tough game as well. We get the rematch as we mentioned earlier with the Indiana. You get the free win against Ty, and then the the big matchup against Louisville, the big rematch. That's gonna be fun to see. In Nebraska, obviously, but I think Hale State is gonna be out for blood this year. I think he was frustrated with how his season ended a year ago. I think he is going to end up having the best record of anybody in any user in the dynasty this year. I think he's going to go 11-1, and put himself in a good spot for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think 11-1 is honestly a pretty good call. I think if anything, the place where we might see that is just going to be this road game
It's gonna be
against
tough,
against
yeah.
LSU, going to Tiger Stadium, going to the ranked 9.
Hmm.
LSU is going to be a little rough. And then we could see another upset in Indiana, but I kind of doubt it. But yeah, no, I'd say 11-1 is probably the best call here.
To me, I think it's an easier matchup for him versus Louisville than it will be against LSU. And that LSU game is going to be the one for both of them. Like it's going to affect their national ranking, but it's at a conference. So I think Miami's got an easier road to a top four position,
Mm.
even if he loses the first two matchups.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I should still be ranked pretty high by the time our game comes around. So he'll
Yeah,
have a bit of a leg up, depending on how that game goes for him. But I'd say 11-1, KU 11-1, Brink. What do you think?
11-1, maybe two.
Maybe 10. All right. Well, moving on to Nebraska, one of Joker's friends, part of the quadrangle of West Coast hate. Um, kind
Like
of
I'll put it this way real quick to close up on the. I think the loser of the LSU Miami game could very well have two losses on the season.
fair enough. Yeah, no. As I was saying, quadrangle of West Coast hate. One of Joker's friends. I don't really know him too well. I don't think anybody else in here really does. Kind of sucks that we don't have Joker in here to talk about him, but he played pretty well last season. He ended up beating me. I think he ended up beating Andrew, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that one, but it'll be interesting. Kind of an open book. He already faces two of his quadrangle of hate groups between UCLA, Neo, and Joker at USC, and then a couple of other slightly easier games between Boise State and Arizona State. Gets his free win against Ty, as everybody does, and then cleans it up going on the road to Louisville and having Miami at home. I mean, this is probably, you should make the playoffs, but it all depends on how you play against the two guys that you know the most, know the best.
Yeah.
Um, but he should
Yeah,
make the
and I
playoffs here.
mean, Nebraska is a good, they got a good solid roster this year. Can you scroll back down to the bottom again just to see who is?
Louisville,
Yeah, I mean,
Miami.
obviously, it's gonna get tough towards the end, but you know, Ricky, as you mentioned, we don't know a ton about him. The most I remember from him last year was the game against UCLA, which was crazy. UCLA, I think, was down by like 17 in the fourth quarter and came back and won it. So that's going to be a big rematch there for sure. But I think 8-4 seems reasonable. I feel like that's just giving him some decent credit on his himself being a user and his team. I think like 8-4 would be a pretty solid year, just given the schedule.
Yeah, I'd say 8-4 is pretty solid. I'm gonna call this 9-3, and I think you're probably losing against one of your two friends here. Probably Joker, and I think you get your revenge against UCLA though.
Yeah, I think I
You're
think
dropping
I'm
these
I'm
two.
with Captain on that. I think three losses. He could have four, but I think three losses is what he's looking at.
You don't think Ty's gonna come in and sweep it up?
Yeah, I think it'll be one like you're saying, USC or I mean Arizona State could also pull one out on him, and that would probably give him 4 to 5 losses, right?
Yeah,
Potentially.
he
But
definitely could. He's still got Sam
Sneaky
Levitt.
road game.
I think they're a good team, and he's a decent user. He's a pretty good user from what I know. So yeah, I think three losses is probably reasonable.
All right. Well, on to Ohio State, the
Dang.
Ohio State, the No Excuses Club. Um,
94 overall.
I'm not gonna
Got a
say that I'm
94
gonna make
overall
it. I mean, I
schedule.
know I'm not gonna make it. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna end up retiring probably after all my user games, because I'm sure most people are aware I'm getting deployed at the end of May. I don't know how long this season's gonna last, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, to the great faraway land of Texas.
right, it's gonna be great. Why don't I have a matchup there? But no, we got Tennessee to start the season at home, and it was just kind of based off of rankings. So I'm sure everybody saw, but Electric's going on the road to play Hail State, and Hex is coming on the road to play me. And it's just how the rankings are, and it's just what we're gonna do. But I get to go to Miami week 2, and then I have One of the few matchups that I really see between myself and KU, but I've got it at the Horseshoe at Ohio Stadium, and then Ole Miss, Jay Phillips, who I've never really played, but I've seen him play, and honestly, I feel like that'll be a pretty solid matchup too. And
Yeah, he had a
then
good first year.
kind of just a pretty, I don't want to say a
Yeah.
weak conference schedule, but these
You
are all
got Penn
people that
State.
not all people that I've played. I've only ever played our Bills once. I beat him. I've never played Steelers, and Brink and I have a history of games where I think I'm
Six
in the
and
lead,
three, 6-4, 6-4. I won the
something like
last
that.
one.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no. If I was going to be here all season and up until the end of it, depending on how we go, then I'd say I definitely make the playoffs, and I should at least win the first round if I'm in a wild card. But I don't really think I'd go too much further than that, as I'm known to kind of just drop out in the second round.
So, what do you think is the biggest strength of your roster this year, and what do you think is the biggest weakness of your roster this year?
Um, I mean, the biggest strength, it kind of comes down to two things, actually. The fact that I've still got Jeremiah Smith, and now I've
Yeah.
got, what's his name? Not Ahmad Hardy.
The
Malik?
defensive end.
No, not him. But between my wide receiver group, I've still got Julian Sand as well. And then I've got both a pretty solid right edge, pretty solid left edge. I've got a good defensive line, and I've still got a solid secondary. So that's probably my best
Yeah.
thing, but the worst thing I've got going for me right now is just my offensive line, which historically
Yeah.
Ohio State just has never had an offensive line in any of these games and any of the actual seasons. We've always struggled with it. I do not know why. It's just been tough, but that's going to be probably the worst thing I've got going for me this season is the fact that I don't have an offensive line.
The thing that I see is that a lot of the teams that you start off against play into your defensive hands because you're good at defending the pass and you have the players that do that very well.
Yeah.
So I think there's potential for you to shock the world and go 3-0, but there's the same potential, if not a greater one, to go 0-3.
Shit my pants and go on three instead. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, it'll be interesting. I'm sure a few of those, if not all, are going to get broadcasted. So,
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see me a good handful of times in the broadcast booth, but as much as I would like to absolutely finish the season out, I don't think I'm going to be able to. We'll have to see,
well,
though.
your conference schedule is unfortunately pretty cake. So, I
As
mean,
it
we'll
is,
have a good matchup.
usually.
You have a much better team than me, so you're going to have the advantage. Penn State will be. If you lose that, we'll just say you lose it. You're still going to make the championship game,
Yeah.
more than likely.
I'd give myself 10-2. I might drop the Arbels game, but I might drop the Hail State game as well,
Mm-hmm.
just to be conservative.
Hear that? He's calling
Yeah.
a win against you.
Yeah. That's gonna be a tough game. I don't going into the shoe. I think 10-2 is probably right for you here.
Hmm.
I think the most likely losses are at Penn State and at Miami.
Yeah.
But I think, Texas Tech could win, Tennessee could win. Like if it was, I think it's 10-2, 9-3. I think it's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, can
I'm
win.
pretty sure I'm actually I've got an undefeated record at Beaver Stadium every time I've played the Penn State user. I
Oh,
think I'm
well, there you
currently
go.
4-0 against Penn State at Beaver Stadium.
Not
So I've
many
only ever
people can
played
say
them at Beaver
that.
Stadium, right? But to be fair, the first year was Dalator, and the next 2 years was, or next 3 years was Kluka. So, eh,
Damn. Shots fired.
right? Bunch of nobodies.
Yeah, if you don't go 10-2, two losses or better, then it's a failed season for you.
Yeah,
Dang.
and that's
And
fine.
we're going to do our best to do that when we come into the horseshoe.
We're not going to be here next season. I'm recruiting for the next guy up, so hopefully I can
I
find
will
my
take the
bride
job.
online.
I will take the job. I'll put it out there in the universe and on the record
I'll
now.
find my bride
I will
online.
take
Brink,
Ohio
It
you
will
would
not
find
be
a way to
Brink.
go 5-7.
Yeah, you thought
I
I
mean,
was going to be
that is
bad.
likely. We'll get to me. Don't worry.
But
We're not
anyway,
confident.
moving on. Old
We're just here
Miss
so we don't get fined.
got another week 0 game between them and West Virginia. Not really a bit of a pushover. We've seen Mike G
Yeah, a lot
kind
of
of
road
shock a
games.
little bit, but he's got a good handful of road games to start. Yeah, but his conference schedule
It's going to help him in recruiting.
kind of,
It's a tough schedule, honestly.
yeah. You're in
I
the
didn't realize how
SEC.
tough this
You're
one
in one of the
was.
toughest conferences, and you've got a lot of ranked games. Especially, I mean, all your out of conference games are ranked. in the preseason, so it's going to be tough for you.
Yeah, I think that week 0-1 against Mike G is going to be big because, I mean, saying that, like, the Indiana, Steelers not having a quarterback, maybe this Ole Miss defense is able to get after them. I know West Virginia last year said that he really struggled with his offensive line play, so I think defense is going to be big for Ole Miss this season. They got 86 overall defense, which is solid, but after that, I at Texas Tech is going to be tough. Ohio State, and then Tennessee, Alabama. Yeah, I mean, where is the LSU one? I guess that's at
That
home, but
is at home.
I do really like Jay Phillips, and I think he is a pretty solid user. But I think 8-4 is about the best he could do. I'm gonna say 8-4.
Yeah, I might actually go with 7-5. I think just be a little more real. He played pretty well, so he could definitely surprise all of us. But this little Alabama, Tennessee, LSU is going to be a pain in the nuts. I think he did end up beating Hex last season. No, I actually think I think Hex beat him last season, but it was a pretty challenging game for both of them. But he's got him at home, so it'll be a little bit easier. So, but I will say
Yeah,
7-5.
I
Probably
mean, I
8.
hope I hope he proves us wrong. But this is, I think, just considering where he's at, like I think this is one of the tougher schedules we've seen. So definitely gonna be a challenge.
Right?
I think 3 losses is his top. 5 losses is like, if things
Yeah,
go
that's the
awry.
worst they can possibly get is 5 losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, on to Oregon and the
Oregon,
first of our two
99.
99 overall teams, 99 offense, 99 defense. KU, if you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, Turf is an interesting user because I feel like he's a guy that can beat anybody, but he can also lose to anybody, if that makes sense. Like his ceiling and his floor feel very far apart at times. If he gets hot, like he can, like I said, just kind of steamroll through anybody. But just given how good this roster is, we probably need to set expectations pretty high. I mean, um, this is a team that I think maybe could be the favorite to win the Pac-12. Obviously, USC is going to be tough, but Oregon just is such a good team. I think 9-3 here is kind of like the worst we can expect to do, given this roster.
Yeah, I think 9-3 is definitely worst you're gonna get. But kind of going back to that whole, he can beat anybody, but he can also be beaten by anybody. When he had, I think it was a 95 plus overall team. I can't remember what it was exactly at Oregon. I ended up beating him coming off of a season break and taking UCLA. So we never
Yeah,
really know what we're going to get, and I'm pretty sure that team was like an 87 overall. So it wasn't exactly easy. So that game was a
I
good
know.
fight. But I'd say 9-3 is probably the worst that we should see out of Turf, being that he's a 99 overall. He's definitely part of the no excuses club. He should be making it at least to the semifinals, if not winning all of it. But kind of a little easy to start out between Texas A&M and West Virginia. Having Texas A&M on the road at Autzen is going to be
Yeah.
tough for Texas A&M. But
Hmm.
this road game against LSU is going to be a little tough as well. I know they've played each other in other college football dynasties. I do not believe they've ever played each other in HPL though. So it'll be interesting because they're actually
Yeah,
on semi-equal footing, and it'll be on a road
right.
game. But other than that, I think this is probably the favorite to win the Pac-12 if he can get over Joker, because the rest
Yeah,
of the
being
Pac-12 is a
at
little rough.
sorry, being at USC, I think that is definitely worth something. But realistically, even if he loses that game, you would expect him to win the rest of the games and still reach the conference championship,
Yeah, at least
and
get
then
back to
have
seeing
another shot at
USC.
him. So, but yeah, I think 9-3 is reasonable.
Yeah. Say 9-3. 11-1
I
at your
do.
best.
I do not expect him to lose any in conference games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that for sure.
It's not crazy.
I think West Virginia will be a little interesting because they're not familiar with each other.
They actually
I think me
played
and him could
last
have a good game.
season. Mike G and Turf. I think they played week 1 of last season, and Mike G almost won that game. I think that was his first like Dynasty online game that he played. And he had him on the ropes and just couldn't quite finish the deal. So I know Mike G will be excited to
The
play him
talent
again.
fee got up to him.
Well, yeah. I mean, and yeah, 99, and I'm not sure what West Virginia is this year,
99, and
but
we'll
it's
see
not
West Virginia
99.
shortly.
So
I'm pretty
we'll
sure
just
it's
have
not
to wait
even
and
90s, man. It's gonna be tough, but
I mean, I've played him with better teams than me before, and I've won and lost close games. So we'll see.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not delusional, but believe me, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Hopefully not.
Could beat everyone, could lose to everyone. We don't really know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'd say 9-3 at worst, 11-1 at best. Brink.
I think he'll lose 2 out of conference games. LSU and then either West Virginia or Penn State. I think
All
I'm
right.
obviously probably going to lose.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
on to Penn State. R. Bales, who the Great White Hope, as he was called very briefly
Yes.
in the playoffs. He gets his little rematch against Andrew, the guy that had
Yeah.
knocked him out of the playoffs, and gets his matchup. He gets a matchup against Boise State, the former Big 12 champion, and then gets matched against the champion at home and gets to play Turf, who we don't really know how it's going to go, but this is pretty much the number 2 guy in the Big Ten, I'd say, behind me, unfortunately, and I'm only saying that because I played him once and I beat him once. So it's really hard to tell if he's better than me or if he's worse than me. So
Yeah, we know that Arbels is one of the best recruiters. I think, I feel like his teams get better season after season. He's just good at finding, his weaknesses and making them strengths the following season or the season after that. So, 12-4 last year, had a really solid season, made it to the semifinals. I think he gets his revenge against Rutgers. I think he's improved his team a little bit and can take him down. I think he can beat Boise State at home, and I think he's fully capable of going into Autzen and taking down Turf as well. So um, I'm gonna say 10-2. I feel like he could lose that Ohio State game. But other than that, it's I think 10-2 seems about right.
yeah, I'd say 10-2 is the pretty much number 2, maybe 1.5 in the Big Ten. That is a pretty solid Brink.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Although I will say I had pretty much the same A&M team playing him when he was Oklahoma in the original HPL CFB26 game season. And I only lost by touchdown, and I was winning a lot of that game. So I don't know. I think we'll have a good game there too. But yeah, I mean, I think Oregon will be tough just because they're unfamiliar, and Oregon's got a great team. Alabama obviously going to be tough. Rutgers tough. So 3 losses is what you're probably looking at, but maybe better than that by a game.
Alright. Sounds good. And then on to Rutgers, the championship runner-up. Also part of the quadrangle of hate of USC, UCLA, Rutgers, and Nebraska now. He gets his matchup against his friend. Unfortunately, not in week 0. As fun as it would be to have a week 0 matchup between Andrew and Joker, unfortunately, scheduling issues have arisen, and we will have to see that in week 1. That will be broadcast, and we will be enjoying every minute of it. Then he gets Penn State at home, Alabama on the road, and that's actually the championship rematch on the road,
Yep.
so that'll be a little interesting. And then I think it's also going to be interesting to see how Sauce plays against Andrew. I do not believe they've ever played before, but Andrew overcame a good bit last season. We'll see if the scheming that he has on offensive defense kind of continues to work out for him. But he's got him at home, so it'll be a little easier. And realistically, this is the guy that wins the Big 12. Because
Yeah,
that's
I
one of the things
mean,
that didn't change. The Big 12 is still, unfortunately, the weakest conference. It's hard to really say anything but.
yeah, I mean, I think the Big 12, I mean, the only thing that it can say is it is one of the two conferences that does have 5 users in it. So, you're gonna have to play four of them in your conference slate. I think some of them are getting better. Boise State might have taken a little bit of a step back, but Texas Tech, I think, took a little bit of a step back as well. West Virginia, I think, might have taken a little bit of a step forward. But yeah, it's a gauntlet. This start of it for sure. I think the road game against USC is going to tell a big story on how the season's going to go. Obviously, Andrew's got Rutgers, who is not the same overalls as a lot of these big teams that he's going to be going up against. So, that said, just obviously it looks like he's got a pretty good offense. The defense is kind of the question mark here. He's, I think, one of the most talented users in here, but I think, you know, I probably have to say I'd probably give him credit and say 10-2 just because of what he did last year with Rutgers. But I think Alabama and LSU is going to be really difficult.
Yeah, I definitely think we're gonna see probably just 10-2 between Alabama and LSU, but we could easily see Joker win the Jewel Shillelagh, whatever you want to call it, and knock him down to at least 9-3. So I'd say 9-3.
I hope Andrew's listening to this, and if he's not right now,
He
hopefully he
is.
listens to it later on
He
and can
will.
listen to it over and over again. But I think, what are you made of, Andrew? What does this
Mm.
schedule do to you? I think you are a premier member of the No Excuses Club. And I'm going
Oh,
to look at that number up in the right corner where it says 76 above his defense. That is indicating to me, as the not expert that I am, that his defense is just not good. And it's going to struggle to keep up with, Alabama, LSU, USC, Penn State.
yeah.
What are you made of, Andrew? What are you made
Uh,
of?
I'm
What
looking
what
at his
what are you
roster.
about?
I'm looking at his roster right now just because I wanted to see, and his corners actually look good. He's got a lot of speed at the corner position, but everything else is definitely a little bit of a question mark. Not a ton of pass rush at all. But the offense is got some nice pieces. We got some solid receivers in here.
Yeah,
Running
LSU
backs
knows
look
how to
pretty
run the ball.
good.
Penn State knows how to run the ball. USC's throwing every RPO it can think of. Alabama maybe it's a good matchup, but what are you made of? What are you going to do?
Yeah, his quarterbacks, he's got a 72, a 71, and a 70 overall quarterback. So
That's
that's
gonna be tough.
Hmm.
well, I might
These are
have to
not excuses,
adjust. I
though.
might have
Things you're
to.
naming are
These
not
are not
excuses.
excuses, but I might say 9-3 now that I looked at that.
Yeah, it's probably a 9-3. I don't think we're seeing the Rutgers Linsanity run, the Rut Sanity run, if you
Undefeated,
may.
undefeated, one loss. I'll give them one loss, but any more
That's
than that,
easy.
why are we here?
If he won it last year, that would have been like the heaviest ring of all time in college football.
Oh, it would have been crazy. Yeah, that would have been the best we'd ever seen, and it would have been funny too because Electric would have been denied once again. We could have kept that going; it would have been great. But
Yeah, unfortunate.
unfortunately, we did not. But yeah, no, 9-3, 9-3, and Brink 11-1.
Worse. I mean, it should be undefeated, but
Okay,
11-1. Worse.
11-1, undefeated
Mm.
probably. All right, well, we're going to move on to our second 99 overall team. Don't know what Heck's built
Oh,
up over here, but his quarterback is a 74 overall, if I'm not mistaken. And
yeah.
it's going to be interesting. This might be the world's fakest 99 we've ever seen, but he goes
Sometimes.
on the road to the horseshoe and
Yeah.
kind of gets a bit of a cake. I don't want to say a bit of a cakewalk, but he gets Washington, Furch. That's going to be an easy matchup at Nayland, and then he gets Indiana, who could go either way because, like we said earlier, Indiana is the one that beat Hail State, and he didn't really do
But he
much
doesn't have a
afterward.
quarterback, also.
Yeah, so it'll be the matchup of the running backs, and that'll probably be it. Which, if I had to pick that one, we're going with Tennessee because I'm pretty sure they've still got both Fluff and I can't remember the other guy's name, but he's got two 90-plus overall running backs. So that'll be tough to fight that. And then he gets Texas Tech to round off the out-of-conference users. And then obviously he's in the SEC, so he plays LSU, Ole Miss, and Alabama. Kind of spread out, thankfully. Hopefully, I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing for him. But we should see. This is probably a 10-2 season. You should make the playoffs. You should be getting to the semifinals. You're 99 overall. It's kind of hard to say that you shouldn't. But I think
Yeah.
realistically, you probably lose most likely to Electric, possibly to Sauce, and possibly to me. But I'm still saying 10-2. You'll win one of those.
Yeah. I mean, I know last year we faced Tennessee and Texas Tech faced in the playoffs. It was at Neyland. Texas Tech ended up coming away with the win, but it was a pretty close game throughout. So definitely going to be a bit of a revenge factor there. I think it's honestly, I think it's either 8-4 or 9-3. I mean, the losses I want to say would be to LSU and Alabama, Ohio State and Texas Tech, but I could see him beating Texas Tech. So I think 8-4, 9-3 is kind of where I'd look here. I know Hex likes to throw a lot of short passes, and maybe throwing a lot of short, quick passes. It doesn't matter as much what your quarterback overall is. But still, if the team is able to take away some of that and force them to throw the ball down the field with the 74 overall quarterback, you're not sure exactly what you're going to get. So it's a toss-up. There's a number of these teams that are kind of like this, where it's close between 10-2, 8-4 sort of thing.
Yeah. Break.
I think I'm going to talk right to Hex. I hope you're listening, because what are you made of? This is a 99 overall team. You're playing teams that are not 99 overall. You're SEC, top-notch SEC candidate here. And if you don't run the gauntlet, I'll give you one loss. Alabama, maybe it's LSU. But I mean, if you lose to LSU, you can't lose to Alabama. So what are you doing here? What are we made of? What's the point if we're not just taking this team and hoisting a trophy at the end of it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that same thing about you, Brink, when we pull up your schedule.
Oh, hey, speaking of which,
here we go.
Texas A&M. Here we go.
Yeah.
Big fall off
No
from 94 overall
excuses.
last season. No excuses, number
fall
3.
off offensively. Kept the defense around. Kept a good amount of the defense around.
Yeah,
but the
we'll let
offense
Brinkley this one.
is hurting. Yeah, sure. I'll just what are we doing here?
Glaze yourself.
It's if we win a user matchup, it'll be because we play BYU in Washington. If we don't win, it's because we didn't play. But look, Oregon, me and Turf, I think every one of our matchups has been a touchdown between us, win or loss for either of us. Arizona State's gonna be interesting. I've never played them before. There's no way I'm letting BYU get past me this time, and I'm home this time. Same with Washington. I know way too much about Furch, so we don't want to be too overconfident. But I mean,
kind of to stop you in your tracks. You said the only way you lose to Furch is if you don't show up. Correct? Yeah. So what happened last season? Did you show up to that game?
I didn't lose. I didn't play Furch.
Or not Furch. Sorry, Ty. I meant Ty.
Oh, last season we threw a pick 6 while the game was tied, and we had a 14-point turnaround, and we didn't recover in time at the end of the fourth quarter. But it wasn't an excuse. It was bad game management, and we threw it away. Right to the garbage chute.
Yeah. Anyway,
So,
back on track.
My question to Brink is, how do we try to limit the amount of interceptions this year? There
we're going to just not
quite a few of them.
You know how you don't run the ball, KU? We're going to be the exact opposite this season.
Great.
You know what?
That's
all
good
right.
to know,
I like the strategy.
Taking the real Big Ten strat of
grind it out kind of team.
Real Big Ten strat of 3 yards in a cloud of dust. We'll see how well that goes.
3-4-3, the first down.
But yeah, no, this is going to be interesting. We could see in the first 4 user matchups, we could see a 0-4, we could see a 2-2, we could see a 4-0. We don't really know which kind of Brink we're going to get. I don't really know what games he plays outside of MLB, and it's really hard to say how he's going to do. But he took a step back from last season.
I'm one of those users that is very dependent on how good the team is under him. He does not make the team better; the team makes him better.
I think we probably see just another 8-4 season, making a bowl game, and most likely winning.
Consistent, Mr. Consistent, 8-4.
Yeah.
That's just enough to screw some up and get some you didn't expect.
Um, I'm gonna say 7-5. I
Ouch.
think
7-5.
I think
What did I
I
do to
think he can
you?
win one of those. I think he could beat Steelers.
Are you angry at me?
No, I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm trying to give my professional opinion here. I'm trying to leave the
Uh-huh.
personal stuff out of it. Brink
So you
knows
think
I
I'm
love
going
him.
2-2 to start out? Uh,
Yeah, I
Maybe.
could see you
Yeah.
losing two of those, and then I think you might be able to beat Steelers, but if you dropped a CPU game, would I be shocked?
No.
Eh,
No, we don't drop CPU
so
games.
I think 7-5 is a safe bet, and prove me wrong.
Sure.
Use this as
Yeah.
motivation
My
for the
pleasure.
season.
All right. Well, moving on to the next part of
Oh,
the
here we
broadcast here.
go.
75.
Here we go.
KU.
75.
Easy.
Move on.
Yeah,
75.
7-5 on to UCLA. No. Yeah,
Take a
KU.
step down.
Interesting schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
Shocking.
gonna be a little bit of a challenging year for us. We're losing our three to honestly probably our best six players from last year. We're losing a couple of guys on the defensive line. We're losing Jacob Rodriguez as our linebacker. We're losing Brennan Morton and Reggie Virgil and Terrence Carter. Reggie Virgil won the Heisman last year, so a lot of things to replace. We got Brennan Sorsby in the portal, so we have a solid quarterback for this season and a really really good wide receiver core that I'm happy about. But I don't have a whole lot of questions on the offensive end. I think we're going to be just fine at being able to put up points. But it's really the defense. We don't have the same pass rush that we had last year, which is going to make things, it's going to be a challenge. I feel like we struggled to stop teams at times last year. So it's not going to be as easy. We're going to have to be really really efficient on the offensive side of the ball to be able to win a lot of these user games. I think I've got a pretty tough slate of them. Joker I lost to last season. Going into the shoe is no easy bargain, and then Ole Miss is solid, and at Tennessee, at a 99 overall team is not going to be easy either. And then obviously the conference, I play 4 conference games. Rutgers is going to be a big one. Unfortunately, it's on the road. Get the rematch with Boise State, and then Colorado and West Virginia. But I mean, I think honestly, just being realistic here, if I play as good as I can possibly play, I think it's 10-2. I think if I play average, it's 8-4. So I'm gonna split the middle and say 9-3, and I think that's should be hopefully enough to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it should with how the conferences got realigned and how we've got 5 user conferences now with the Pac-12 being added. Kind of sticking in line with what you've been doing, I had a question for you. We all know that your running game isn't going to be very much. Your best running back's probably only going to max out like maybe 375 yards. What's your best receiver gonna, or what's your receiver gonna get? Who's gonna be? What's the yardage gonna be on that guy? Because I think it was 4 or 5 thousand last season.
Yeah, I think Virgil went for about 3,000 yards last year. I think Morton threw for over 8,000 and 90 touchdowns. I think the good thing about this and what we've done and putting like everybody having a lot more user games, it's going to be a whole lot harder to stat pad and get Heisman's like I did last year. So, that said, I still feel confident that I can put up, good passing numbers on users, but like I said, I think we still have the offense. It might be a tick down from where it was last year, but I still think we got a lot of really, really good options, and I just gotta, maybe if I can mix in the run a little bit more and, not put so much pressure on the quarterback, then maybe it would catch some people off guard, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know.
think a
I
lot,
think
a
it's
lot of people
fitting.
expect the KU run game.
It's pretty fitting that he's from Wisconsin nowadays because of all the cheese he has.
All the cheese I have.
All the cheese, but yeah, no, I'd say probably 10-2 is going to be the best that you get here. Rutgers is going to be tough to face, but the rest of the Big 12, even though
Does
Boise
he
State
make?
had beat
Yeah,
you, I think you at least
making the
show
Big
up.
12 championship's going to be tough.
I think that's the big game against Boise State, right? Because even if I lose that one to Rutgers, I gotta if I can win that home game against Boise State, you'd
That
think
gets
there's a
you in,
pretty
and that
good
gets you a
shot.
rematch, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not taking anything away from Colorado and Mike G's played me tough before, but I feel like if I play where I'm capable of, I should beat both of those teams. But yeah, that Boise State one is probably gonna end up being the most important game on my schedule. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see.
Say
All
9-3,
right.
Brank.
Yeah, 9-3, maybe 8-4, but probably
9-3,
like
8-4.
9-3
You
with
sure
a
it's not
3,000
7-5 with
yard
how he
rusher.
treated you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
Mm-hmm.
moving
Just
on
being honest,
to
being professional and honest.
being
Professional and honest
professional,
opinion.
professional
Right.
and honest.
Yeah,
All right, moving on to part three of
that
the
that,
West
that
Coast
take was
Quadrangle of
Gouda.
Hate. UCLA, Neo, he disappeared kind of in the middle of the season. Like I said, I think there were some personal issues that happened. We didn't really knock him for it. We didn't really ask him about what happened, and it's fine. But he gets Ricky, Nebraska at home week 1. We don't really know how that's going to go, but we saw how it happened last season, and he came out with the win somehow. He gets
Somehow, some way.
somehow. I watched that game and I still don't know how he won it.
That
So that
was
was
one of the
interesting.
most wild games of the year for sure.
But yeah, no, he gets on the road against Ty, which that's kind of everybody. You pass go, get your $200, and then you get
Damn.
you get Heredia on the road and you get Mike G on the road. Which, if you're not coming out of this at least 2-2 to start your season after week 5, it's going to be very unfortunate. I don't
Yeah,
think you're
I
really a contender for the Pac-12, but I'd say probably 7-5 at worst.
yeah, I think Neo. I had a lot higher expectations going into last season. I think he is a pretty good user. And I know I played him week 2, I want to say, and it was a shootout. I think I ended up winning 45 to 42, but 6 and 7 is definitely not what anybody expected last year from UCLA. Hopefully they've improved their team some, hit the portal well, and but this start of the year, I think they can make some hay here. I think they're one of the teams that I expect to have a big turnaround going into this season. So I think they go from 6 wins to 9 wins this year. I'm gonna say 9-3.
All right,
I think
break.
they have a better year. I think they have a better year, but I don't want to hold out too much hope just because of he's shown not to show up. But I don't mean literally. I mean like games you think he's going to do really well, and he ended up losing last season.
Yeah,
So, but I think this year it should go a little bit better for him.
yeah. Hopefully it does. UCLA is a pretty nice team to rebuild, and I think he's still got one more season of Emalava, but I could be dead wrong. But moving
Yeah.
on to the fourth member, Quadrangle of Fate,
Mm.
USC Joker, the only guy to go undefeated last season and squandered it all in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, some
Very
people were
unfortunate.
saying Mickey's schedule. Did they really deserve that? And kind of played like it in their playoff game. So,
Yeah, but
um, yeah, it's a tough schedule to start with for sure. Andrew's obviously no pushover. Texas Tech is going to be highly motivated after what they did to them last year. And then going on the road against his son, there'll be a lot of belt and leather in that game. So, and then Ricky, these guys have played each other a bunch. They're very familiar with each other, so that'll be a fun one to watch too. And then, as we mentioned, the run through the Pac-12, it's probably going to come down to USC and Oregon. Um, but I think there's a few losses up there, especially early. I'm gonna say 9-3 for USC this season.
yeah, I don't think we see the Linsanity run that USC had to go undefeated last season. He is, I think, the only Quadrangle of Hate guy to play all 4 or all 3 of the other ones between Rutgers, Nebraska, and UCLA. So it'll kind of be interesting to see how he fares against the people he knows and loves, or at least knows. But I'd say 10-2 at your worst. That battle over the belt against DJ is going to be a little tough. But I think what you really need to worry about is the Pac-12, that Oregon matchup. If you win that, you win the Pac-12. Right?
Oh, Joker just.
Yeah. Look, he went undefeated last year. This schedule's about as tough as it was last season. If he drops
USC.
to Rutgers and even Louisville, he can still run the table on the rest. He can still go into Louisville and shock the world. I don't know. Probably 2 losses at worst, 3 or 4.
You know what? I'm changing my mind after that video. USC's motivated. I can feel it. I'm saying 10-2.
So yeah, 10-2.
I think he goes into Louisville and beats DJ. I'm changing my mind now.
That'd be interesting. I'd love to watch
DJ
that.
is
We
not
are
ready for that.
broadcasting the Battle of the Belt.
We said it's a trap game. I said it was a trap game.
It's only a trap game if Joker comes out with something other than RPOs and options. If he can come out and show us something more than that, then I think he's definitely got him. But 10-2, Brink.
Yeah, I said 2. Worst case, 3 to 4 losses.
2 worst case so far. All right. Well, moving on to Washington, Furchinator, who kind of.
I gotta look at this roster.
But yeah, this roster's very confusing. I don't know why he's a 97. I don't know how he's that. I don't know how he's a 99 overall offense. And I don't know why he's a 94 overall defense. Kind of like Tennessee, this might be something similar to the world's fakest 97 overall roster, but nobody really knows just yet. He starts the season off in the Boeing Apple Cup between Washington State. That's hard-coded, unfortunately. We could not change that. But he goes on the road to Nayland, and then he gets Colorado at home, and then goes on the road to Kyle Field to face Brink and Texas A&M, and then gets, like I said earlier, the famed toilet bowl matchup between Furchinator and Ty Racing, Washington and BYU. He gets Ty at home. And then he's in the Pac-12, so he's got probably 3 or 4, or third or fourth in the Pac-12. You probably beat Arizona State, but I think you're losing to Oregon, UCLA, and USC, and you're probably dropping that Tennessee game, and probably dropping the Texas A&M game. But this is probably you're doing better this season. You're going 8-4. You're making your bowl game at the very least.
I'm going through this roster right now, and honestly, like, there's only one player on this roster that is over a 90. And I think the reason the rating is so high is just because the depth is honestly insane. You know, he's got an 87, 85, 80 quarterback. He's got 4 80-plus overall running backs. He's got 7 80-plus overall receivers. So there's a lot of depth on this team for sure, but they don't really have like the star power. I'm not really sure they have like a player that can carry him through everything. So
he doesn't have like a Jeremiah Smith or Malachi.
Right.
Yeah.
You would think normally when you see a 99 overall team, you know, you got 8, 9, 10, 90 plus guys, and some of them are way up there, and it's a lot of depth there. So wear and tear, he's going to be just fine, but 5-7 last year, obviously big disappointment. So they're gonna have to figure something out, and it's gonna have to start early. I think. You're gonna have to the game against Tennessee is obviously gonna be really tough, but Colorado, Texas A&M, BYU, they got to take care of that because there's gonna be some tough matchups in the Pac-12 as well. But I'm gonna say 7-5. Feel like that would be an improvement obviously over last season, and I feel like just given the schedule and it also just being Furch, like 7-5 would be not too bad.
Yeah, I think you make a bowl game here. You do better than last season. 5-7 isn't too reflective of how you are.
99 offense, he should luck himself into a couple of wins. Like, why are they 99? Is he got like some awesome receiver or something?
I don't know.
I just went through the whole thing.
It's kind of like how you were a 94 overall last season. Were you really a 94 overall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
He's got one player that's a 90 plus, and everything else, he's just got like a
a lot
boatload
of
of
80
80 plus
plus,
guys.
80s and
Yeah.
85s.
A lot
All
of
right.
B
Well,
players.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
B
no.
class team. All right. Well,
8-4,
somebody super fast.
7-5, Brink.
Yeah, probably 5 losses.
5 losses. All right, and then
1,
on
2,
to
3. Yeah.
the
Mike
last
G.
guy that we've got, Mike G, West Virginia. KU, if you'd like.
Yeah, Mike G just he hasn't been playing this game for too long, but recently just got into it and wanted to start and join a dynasty. So it was shaky to start with, but honestly, 10-3 for your first season in here was really really impressive. So especially just given the roster that West Virginia had last season. I know offensive and defensive line were big areas he wanted to hit. So hopefully, he got some players there that he can feel a little bit more competitive with. But yeah, I think Ole Miss gonna be tough. Oregon, they had a good game last year. But it wouldn't surprise me, if he beats BYU, UCLA, and even I think could beat a couple teams in the Big 12 too. So. Um, I think 9-3 is definitely on the table. 8-4 might be a little bit more safe, but yeah, he's definitely one of those guys. You see him on your schedule, and I think maybe people just think, oh, this will be an easy win, but I don't think he's a guy that you can really overlook anymore. I think he's got enough experience that you gotta bring it to beat West Virginia.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got it in him to try and repeat the 10-3 season. But I feel like 8-4 is going to be a little more realistic. He could come out with a win against either Ole Miss or Oregon, and he should beat Ty. He should beat Neo. But
I think we have to broadcast that BYU game.
once it
I
comes
think we have
to once it comes to in conference, that Rutgers game is going to be tough, and that Texas Tech game is going to be tough. But who really knows on Boise State and Colorado? It's another who really knows what type of Freddy we're going to get. But I'm going to say 8-4 is probably your safest bet. You'll make a bowl game. You'll win it.
I don't think Mike's here to get 4 or 5 losses. He's here to win this conference. And
Oh,
I don't think anybody on his schedule should be looking past him for sure.
yeah, absolutely.
If somebody could shock you and run the table, it might be West Virginia.
I definitely say so, and that is
It
actually
would be a shock.
everybody. So,
Very, very big shock.
Yeah, I think the last thing to go over is just the rule changes, which KU.
Rule changes? Do we want to do rule changes first, or do we want to do predictions for this
Yeah, actually, we can do
prediction?
predictions.
All right. I am thinking the championship game is going to be Miami and Alabama, and I think Miami is going to take this one this year. I think this is his revenge season. He had a really good recruiting class, so I think this is the year Miami bounces back after an early loss and they get the job done. They deny Electric second championship.
Yeah, no, I mean that would. I don't think people would hate that. We know Hail State's a pretty solid user. Definitely consensus number 3 behind Electric and DJ, but nobody'd really be too shocked if he wins everything. But I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route. I'm actually gonna take Louisville to win it all, just because he's talked about it a lot. Getting Avery Johnson, that's his final piece. He finally has a quarterback. He finally has his Lamar Jackson type, and it'll be interesting. And honestly, I think it'll probably be a classic matchup between him and Electric, if I really had to guess. And who really knows how that game's gonna go.
Yeah, great.
I think Final Four is going to be Miami, Alabama, LSU, and Rutgers. An honorable mention, Tennessee.
Damn.
And if Rutgers doesn't make the
Tennessee.
Final Four, I'm just saying, why are we here?
With an 82 overall
We're so high on
and a
Rutgers, and I
72
don't get
overall
it.
quarterback.
I mean,
Oh,
Look,
how I
if
feel
Andrew-
professionally about
If
this.
Andrew don't win everything,
Okay.
according to you, he shouldn't be here.
If Andrew wins a championship with this roster with this schedule against these opponents, you know, we might just have to shut the league down. Like I think he's gonna have a very good season.
It might be over until 27.
You know, because that will be the equivalent of the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. That would be the heaviest ring in the history of college football. Nobody is denying Andrew's talent at all, but I think some other people have said it, I would love to see him take a shot with, you know, a stronger team, you know, a high 80, low 90 type of team, and just see what he could do, see the damage he could do, because
Well, be careful what you wish for. 'Cause he can take
Yeah.
a job after he runs the table with the.
Well, I
Scarlet
mean,
Knights.
we need some parity in here. You know, we don't want to see
know.
just Electric and Hail State and DJ just running things. So, you know,
Yeah, we want some new people.
I'm hopeful. You know, prove me wrong, Andrew. So,
And some of that Final Four is going to have to get there from the first round, by the way.
yeah. True.
Yeah, that's fair, but yeah, no, I think that's all we got for predictions between Hail State, Louisville, and Frankie didn't really give us a champion, but it sounds
Yeah,
like your
who's-
champion's
who's
gonna be Rutgers.
Is it Andrew?
Rutgers versus the winner of the other game.
if Andrew doesn't win everything, if he doesn't go 16-0 or 17-0, no, 16. If he doesn't go 16-0, then he shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
Apparently.
just what are we doing? Why are we wasting our time?
He
We
comes-
value time. You know, there's a
Andrew's got
big
the-
time valuer over there as the Rutgers coach.
He gets it out the mud, you know. Like he's not messing around, you know. He's in the trenches, as we know.
Big motivator.
All right, well, on to the rule changes.
but- Yes. So if you've stuck around this long, obviously last season there were a number of things we put in that got there were some voices that were louder than others on
Various
some of the
reactions.
changes. Yeah, you could probably guess who some of them are that had a lot to say about it. This year, there are no play call bans.
He goes to Miami's schedule.
You can you can call whatever you want, whether that be the quarterback sneak, wildcat, you want to run mid blitz, whatever you want to do. I personally did not think removing them affected much of the gameplay at all, but I'd rather just not have to deal with watching it and telling everybody about it in every single user game. So I think we just let it go and just let people call whatever they feel like. So
Yeah.
that'll be the first change there. And then you know, there was questions about the chewing clock. Last year we said it could only be in the fourth quarter. This year, if you want to do it at the end of the half, because you know, you want to have the last possession, go ahead. There's already what's it called? It rundown to what 20 seconds? Yeah. So there's already a bit of a rundown, and you know, it was one of those where guys could kind of get around it anyways by just, you know, standing there at the line of scrimmage and making a bunch of adjustments and bringing the clock all the way down. So it's one of those things that's just better to probably not, you know, dwell on too much. If you choose to do that, so be it. The fourth down rule will be slightly modified this year.
Simplified, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little bit better, and I think it'll lead to a little bit more competitive balance. Essentially, it is the same in terms of if you are on your side of the field. So if you have not yet passed the 50, if you have a 4th and 6 or longer, you cannot go for it if you are tied or leading. Same rule applies on the other side of the field. If it is a 4th and 11 plus, you would have to kick it. But the only difference we put in this year is that if you are trailing at any point in the game, you are liable to go for that 4th down. So there was a couple situations last year where, you know, teams had like a 4th and 6 on their side of the field. There was, you know, not much time left in the third quarter. They're already down in the game, and the rules kind of suggested that you would have to kick it in that scenario. But now I think it's easier if you're trailing and you need to get back in the game and you want to go for a fourth down on your side of the field that's past 6 yards, then go for it. And if you are tied for the lead or you are leading, you still have to follow the normal fourth down rule. So I think it just sort of eliminates kind of the question marks of just sort of game flow, game script of trying to get out of that a little bit. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do this season. You guys have any thoughts on that, or?
No, not really. I think it kind of closes up the questions that some people had on can I go for it, and when I'm down 2 scores and whatnot, it kind of closes up all the loopholes where nobody really knew what was going on. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it simplifies it and less that we need to track, and less issues
Yeah.
I think will arise.
I think so too, and I think obviously the goal last season, we tried a couple things just to see if it was going to make a significant difference, see if anybody really liked it. There was either really no feedback on it, or obviously, like we said,
All
a
the
few
feedback.
people said, yeah, that it was stupid and that this league is a joke, blah blah blah. So, here you go. It's all there for you to work for. Just kind of have at it, and it'll make our jobs, less difficult. But I think those are kind of the three main changes for this year from a gameplay perspective. There might be an adjustment here or there with a couple of the sliders, but it's not going to be anything major, so shouldn't really affect gameplay too much. But yeah, everything else we're planning to just keep the same, keep it rolling, and I think we're gonna sim here shortly, right? And if anybody has week 0 games, they can just get it rolling. So,
Yeah.
you guys have anything else to close it out, or?
No, I'd say
Boogity
that's really
boogity
about it.
boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
But
All right. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
thank you for showing up to the Season 2 schedule reveal. Look out for any sort of matchups we decide to broadcast on Week 0, which we're going to be opening up the broadcast to anybody. If you can find someone to commentate or 2 people to commentate,
Yeah.
or if you just want to do it silent, anything works. We just want to have more games get broadcasted, so feel free to go ahead and do so if you would like to. Just make sure you get a hold of Joker, as he has the username and password. But yeah, no, thank you again for watching the Season 2 schedule reveal, and we will see you Week 0.